Fear isn't always about the present. It's about our deep resistance to change. We fear uncertainty because we're attached to how life should be. We want people to stay, jobs to last, and plans to unfold exactly as we imagined. But the Buddha taught us a truth so simple, yet so liberating. Everything is impermanent. Nothing stays the same. Not joy, not sorrow, not even fear. And that's the key. Once you deeply realize that every thought, feeling, and experience will pass, your grip on fear begins to loosen. You stop clinging. You stop resisting. Instead of asking, "How can I stop this from changing?" you start asking, "How can I move with it?" Think of pain you felt a year ago. Is it still here? Or the anxiety from a moment of doubt? Did it last forever? Everything arises and everything fades. That's the nature of impermanence. And when you embrace it, fear loses its power. Because now, even in hardship, you know this. This too shall pass. What if I told you that most of your fears aren't even real? They're just stories your mind made up. That racing heartbeat, that tightness in your chest, they're not caused by actual danger, but by imagined outcomes that haven't even happened. The Buddha taught that much of our suffering comes not from reality, but from illusion. Fear, more often than not, is a mental projection. It's the what-if voice in your head painting worst-case scenarios. What if I fail? What if they leave? What if I lose everything? But here's the truth. Fear is not fact. It's just a thought. And just like any thought, it can be observed, questioned, and released. Imagine standing at the edge of a cliff. Your body reacts. Sweaty palms, pounding heart. But are you falling? No. You're just standing still. The fear isn't in your environment. It's in your mind. When you begin to see fear as an illusion, you take away its power. You no longer react to every anxious thought as if it were truth. Instead, you become the observer. You step back and say, "Ah, there's fear again," and watch it come and go like a passing cloud. Every time you stretch beyond your comfort zone, fear will arise. But that doesn't mean something is wrong. It means you're growing. Fear is not the enemy. It's a signal, a sign that you are entering unknown territory where transformation happens. The next time fear appears, pause, breathe. Remind yourself, this is just my mind telling a story, and I don't have to believe it. You are not your fear. You are the awareness behind it. And that awareness is limitless. Where does fear live? Not in the present moment, but in the stories you tell yourself about the past and the future. You fear what might happen tomorrow. You regret what happened yesterday. But rarely do you feel fear when you are fully here, now. This is the power of mindfulness, or sati in Buddhism. It is the practice of bringing your full attention to the present moment where fear cannot survive. When you're mindful, you are not lost in mental movies or caught up in what-ifs. You are anchored in the here and now, observing your thoughts without being pulled by them. Imagine this: a fearful thought arises. What if I fail? Instead of reacting, you pause. You breathe. You simply notice it. Ah, here's fear again. You don't push it away. You don't believe it. You just observe it. And in that space between reaction and awareness, fear begins to dissolve. The Buddha taught, the mind is everything. What you think, you become. When you train your mind to observe instead of absorb, you become free. Fear also shows up in the body. a tight chest, shallow breath, a restless heart. Through mindfulness, you learn to bring awareness to these sensations without judgment. You sit with them, you breathe into them, and slowly, they soften. Mindfulness doesn't mean you'll never feel fear again. It means fear no longer controls you. With every breath, you come back to center. With every moment of awareness, you reclaim your power. And in that quiet, grounded presence, you'll realize fear was never the enemy. Your lack of awareness was. So return to the now. It's the only place where peace is possible. And fear begins to fade. Why do we suffer so deeply, even when nothing seems to be wrong? Why does fear, anxiety, and unease creep into our hearts, even on peaceful days? The Buddha answered this with one powerful truth. Suffering, dukkha, is part of life. It's not a punishment. It's not a sign of weakness. It's simply the result of how we relate to the world around us. Fear is one form of suffering. It arises when we resist change, cling to certainty, or try to avoid discomfort. We fear the unknown, fear rejection, fear loss, fear death. Not because these things are happening now, but because we believe they might. But Buddhism teaches us that we are not alone in this. Everyone suffers, everyone fears, everyone struggles. When you understand this, something shifts. Your fear becomes less personal, less shameful, less paralyzing. You begin to see that fear is not a flaw. It's a shared human experience. And that realization alone softens the grip of suffering. The Buddha didn't just teach that suffering exists. He also taught that we can end it. We end suffering not by escaping fear, but by understanding it. We observe how it arises. We watch how it clings to our desires, our expectations, our need to control. And then, gently, through awareness and compassion, we begin to let go. You don't need to fight your fear. You only need to see it clearly, understand where it comes from, and stop blaming yourself for feeling it. When you realize that fear is just another wave in the ocean of human emotion, you no longer drown in it. You learn to float. You learn to breathe. And in time, you learn to be free. This is the path the Buddha offered. Not freedom from life, but freedom within life, even when fear arises.
Have you ever noticed how fear arises when you're afraid of losing something? A job, a relationship, your image, your future. The tighter you hold on, the more afraid you become. According to the Buddha, at the root of this fear is something called tanha, craving, clinging, attachment. We cling to outcomes, identities, expectations, believing that without them, we won't be safe, happy, or whole. But the truth is, attachment is the birthplace of fear. It convinces us that our happiness depends on things we can't fully control. And when those things shift, as all things do, we panic, we suffer. Buddhism doesn't ask you to stop loving, dreaming, or caring. It asks you to release the grip, to stop letting your peace depend on whether things go exactly as you planned. Letting go of attachment doesn't mean becoming numb or detached. It means learning to show up fully, with love and intention, without clinging. You can love someone deeply and still know that they don't belong to you. You can pursue a goal with passion and still accept that the outcome may look different than you imagined. You can care and yet let go. Because real freedom is not in getting everything you want. It's in not being controlled by what you want. When you release attachment, fear loses its power over you. You stop fearing change because your peace no longer depends on stability. You stop fearing loss because you understand that nothing was ever truly yours to keep. So ask yourself, what are you holding on to so tightly that it's making you afraid? Now breathe, loosen your grip, and trust that when you stop clutching the world the world opens up to hold you.
In a world obsessed with instant results, patience feels like a lost art.
We want answers now, solutions today, and success without delay. And when life doesn't move fast enough, fear creeps in. Whispers of doubt, uncertainty, and what-ifs begin to fill the mind. But according to the Buddha, true strength lies in patience. Kanti. Patience is not passive. It's not waiting around, hoping life will fix itself. Patience is the inner courage to remain calm in the face of uncertainty. It is a deep trust in the rhythm of the universe. Fear often emerges when we demand control, when we expect life to unfold according to our own timeline. We fear delay. We fear the unknown. We panic when the path ahead isn't clear. But life was never meant to be rushed. Like a seed pushing through the soil, everything blooms in its own season. No amount of anxiety will make the rain fall faster or the sun rise sooner. When you practice patience, you begin to realize not knowing is okay. Waiting is not failure. Slowness is not punishment. You make peace with the present moment, even if it's uncomfortable. You stop resisting the now and begin to trust that clarity, growth, and resolution will come when the time is right. Patience also means being gentle with yourself, not judging your progress, not comparing your path to others. Because fear often whispers, "You're behind." But patience answers, "You're exactly where you need to be." So, next time fear tells you that you're running out of time, pause. Breathe deeply. Return to the present. And remember, the universe is never late, and neither are you.
You'll begin to see it as an opportunity for growth, awareness, and deeper peace. Remember, fear is not something to fight against or repress. It's simply a part of life, something we can learn to understand, navigate, and eventually transcend through mindfulness, compassion, and wisdom. If you found these lessons helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, you have the power to stop your fears and live a life filled with courage, peace, and freedom. Thank you for watching.